He's our insider. You know him, you love him. He's the head coach of your UTSA Roadrunners. Jeff Traylor, a regular on Sports Sunday, back in studio. Coach,
hello.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Hey, we were just talking about Indiana, Miami. I'd love to start there and get your take there. These are two teams that at the beginning of the year, everybody's talking about Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, Alabama, Georgia. The usual suspects. Is it kind of refreshing that we've got an Indiana-Miami national championship game?
It's exciting. I mean, for what Coach Ignetti's done at Indiana, has raised the stakes for every new coach in the country. I think about Will Stein at Kentucky now, and you know, immediately everybody wants him to be Vanderbilt or Indiana and flip the script, you know, that quickly. So he's definitely changed that. Then you got the story of Miami. You know, Mario leaving Oregon and coming back there, and now they're in the championship game. So I am one to believe it's going to be an interesting watch, because I know Miami's so dominant in the trenches, but Indiana's such a well-oiled machine. That's going to be an interesting matchup.
Everybody's been talking about the portal. We know your thoughts on the transfer portal. We've heard you for years. And every coach in America, whether they're a power like Texas or Texas A&M, or G5 schools losing players to bigger schools, every coach hates the fact where the calendar is, that we have these players leaving their teammates, leaving their teams, signing a contract to go somewhere for 2 years and then bailing out. And now teams are even playing buyouts for these kids. The madness aside, how do you feel? I know you lost your best wide receiver, about 20 kids total, but you've got some nice gains coming as well. How do you feel about the roster after this crazy portal we've just gone through?
Well, I hate losing any kids, just because that's why I got in the business. You know, I love coaching them, seeing it all the way through. But you know, it is what it is. It's just the new way of football, as you've done a great job explaining there. We're bringing in, you know, 46 right now. We'll end up at 49. We've never had that many. You know, you usually have your 22 to 25 that graduate, but we've never had this number of portal. And it's kind of gone up. You know, I can still remember when we lost Zakari in the very beginning. That was a big deal. And then losing Trey was a big deal. And that's about it, you know. And then, boy, it's really ramped up here the last couple of years. And I gave the analogy. I was eating dinner this weekend with Carrie, and I ran into a world-renowned barbecue brisket guy. And I won't say his name, but I gave him the analogy that I'm a slow cooker. Like, I like to cook my briskets that take a long time, as an analogy of a football team. And now I've got to learn how to cook a really, really good brisket in the microwave. We got to get this team really good quickly.
Yeah, and when you got here, everything was about the triangle of toughness, the culture that you build. Kids didn't leave because they had been a part of it for a couple of years. Is it hard to build a culture when everything's now in and out in a year?
Yeah, I would say it's harder for sure. But if you look at how we've struggled the last 2 years, but we've finished so good down the stretch, that's probably more of a test of your culture than back when we were undefeated, winning 12, 11, and 10 games. So it hasn't proven to be that way, because our guys are still held in there together. We had guys play in the bowl game that I knew were in the portal that were going to leave me, and no one else would do that. They're scared of injury. They would opt out. You just have to change, and I've just adapted with it, and I've learned to be okay in my soul with it. And I'm a believer, and if we're going to be people of faith, there's no greater time to show your faith than when stuff is the craziest as it is right now.
Well, I remember a big loss a couple of years ago was Brandon High. Your running backs coach went to California, took Brandon with him. Now Brandon's coming back. That's got to be refreshing.
And the way it all went down, he had bigger offers, he had SEC offers, and his grandmother and his mom and him all want to be back here. Really glad to get Brandon back.
Let's also talk about the way that things have gone down since the portal. You're also talking about your coaching staff. You've made some changes. You're bringing in Rick Bowie from Western Kentucky as your new offensive coordinator. What did he do in his interview that wowed you? What can he bring to UTSA?
Well, he already called it very similar to the way we look. And he knows we've been really good on offense for all 6 years. And you're talking about an offense that Our fan base is extremely spoiled. We've been top 25, as we were again this year in the country on offense. So it'll still look very similar, but Rick will also bring his own expertise. You know, he's called it for 3 different schools now. This will be his 4th school. He just keeps moving up. And I hope he scores a bunch of points, and he does like Will and Justin and Barry, and I think he'll give him a great job.
Goes off somewhere great. Well, I can tell, despite all the distractions and the NIL and portal, all that, you still keep your enthusiasm. You're excited about this new group that you got to meet tonight and for the first team meeting because the roster turns over. So the energy's still there.
Well,
and the love is still
factually,
there.
I mean, we've been very successful for 6 straight years. And in this new world, for us to stay relevant for all 6 years, I'm really proud of that. Do I wish we'd have won 2 championships the last year? For sure I do. You know, our very first year we lost to UAB, or we might would have won our first year. Second, third year won it. 4th year lose to Tulane, or would have been in it again. And the last couple, we've lost a couple of games in conference we just had no business losing. And whenever that happens, you got to reflect on the head coach. And we've made some changes, and we got to get back in the mix. And winning bowl games is fun, but winning championships is a lot more fun.
Jeff Traylor, he's our insider. The Roadrunners looking forward to a new season. Jeff,
God
thanks
bless.
for being
Birds
here.
up.